you big more than two. Yes, it's okay. My son likes to take pictures and hold them and tell me if I'm on to the app. So, yeah.
I've got that.
We can do that. Oh, yeah. They're hiring for inspectors. They keep lowering the age and it's working for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exciting meeting. Oh my gosh, this mic of the Celebration Residential Owners Association. Thank you. Finally, applause. I've been waiting for over a year for that. I'm your host, Don McDonald. I'm sorry. And it really looks, golly, this microphone. I definitely don't need to tilt it my way. So anyway, welcome. It looks long, but it's really not as bad as it looks. Once we're started. All right, let's begin the festivities with the verification of the proper meeting notice. And see, this math I can do. Yeah, of course. How about the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can anybody hear me back there?
Yeah, on the other side.
Oops. All right, let's call this here meeting to order, and we'll start with the owner's comment period. And it looks like number one on the list, and it's just where you have to fall. It's not that he's the best here, but what is he here? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's Jim. I can't see you, Jim. Come on up.
All right. And on 2293 Celebration Boulevard, my first topic is about our friends from Mayberry. Few neighbors expressed concerns about someone strange taking pictures and videos of kids at pool and parks. I explained that it was Mayberry security, providing evidence of wrongdoing, or they were just there. With the increased coming of Mayberry in the neighborhoods over the school out time frame, I think it'd be a good idea to communicate this and what they do to the residents, so everybody knows and they don't get freaked out when people are taking pictures of the pool. Second, on February 4th, 2025, I submitted our request for IB homeowners to hold 3 meet and greets at our community room within the 365 days of 2025, as we have done in 2023 and 2024. We're almost in May and we have had no definitive answer from the rec committee. I have heard some people think this is a private event, so we should have to pay for them. Thoughts of some are that we need to invite over 13,000 residents to the 80-person living room that we have, which I think is senseless. It's a homeowners get-together that homeowner associations should always support. In 2023, I'm pretty sure the board approved for all of the villages to have this opportunity. Just because we are the only ones that have taken advantage of it, I don't think we should be back. These are opportunities that neighbors, new and old, get together and enjoy time. Third, this is my personal opinion. I know CROA wants to significantly reduce the amount that they paid to support Celebration and its residents over the last 20 years. They're cutting funding for all of us. Residents are going to have to go up to cover their cost reductions. I don't know if it's possible, but the businesses I have talked to get no support. And so maybe they should just be eliminated. And the fees currently pay $2,000 matters, and maybe they hire a few people to help the businesses out over the long term. Fourth is good news. Tacos and Henry's official grand opening in Island Village is scheduled for May 4th as an early tribute to Cinco de Mayo. Brunch will be from 10 to 2 p.m., a live DJ from 2 to 5, a mariachi band from 5 to 6, and the official ribbon cutting ceremony at 6 p.m. If you haven't been there, the food is wonderful, it's great, and the service is even better. Thank you very much.
Is that an homage to Arrested Development? They're doing Cinco de Quattro? Anyway, thank you. You see,
After we see, when do they meet soon, so they can take that.
But I think they're waiting for our guidance on it.
oh, okay, all right, so we'll talk about that. Oh,
It's on your next workshop for discussion.
it's on the next workshop, oh, let's go to Nina now. Nina?
Thank you. I wish I had a mic like yours. So,
Yeah, you don't have a mic.
I know. Nina Schwitters, I've been a resident here at Celebration for 10 years. I live at 1589 Castile Street. I'm a daily black swimmer and I teach aqua yoga here for the last 5 years. And thank you for allowing me to address the board on this matter. So I'm going to give at least the board members an email that I sent. I don't have many copies. I know one person did see it already, so. Yes, that would be awesome. Big problem. So this is in regarding the Spring Park Lake Pool architectural design. So I'm just gonna read you some of the highlights here. So I sent a note about the destroying of the Celebration architectural design at Spring Park Pool. We used to have a beautiful arch. It had orange and blue, and it actually matched the windows. So the two new outside shower designs have none of that. We really done away with it. So we don't have the design shape, the materials or the colors, which I've been told the color will change, but it's still other issues. So completely changed. So I think it's really important that we maintain what we've been handed, what we've been gifted here in Celebration. The architects painfully gave us the most beautiful buildings, the design, the colors, the materials, and this last one looks pretty shabby. So I thought it was time to speak up. I'm just going to show you. I mean, you can see what it looks like from here, but there were two really nice tiles in this house that are inside that would have looked extraordinary on the exterior of the showers. But I was told that that was what we chose. So I stand up here, as many other homeowners have written, because we're very sad to see that go. And so I come with a solution. I know you get problems. So my solution is to preserve, to have some responsibility to maintain the architectural design, style and colors of Celebration. My solution is maybe we need to hire a historical architect when we want to change the structures and maintain the integrity of what we've been given. I know art does their best, but we have something in place. We're just copying. We really need to make sure that we don't take away the beauty we have been given. So again, thank you. I thought it was really important to bring this up right now because we're making changes for cost reasons or whatnot. But if you swim every day and you look at that, it really brings home that we're losing our character.
Hey,
We're
thank you
losing
so
the
much.
youth.
Thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome. Thank you.
Any other owner comments? I don't have any on the list, but. Nope, okay, moving along. How about a motion to adopt the agenda? Thanks.
Do we want to move, the C?
See on page 47.
Page, well, it's on page 3.
I'm joking.
But, oh, okay, but, C to after A, I assume that's why some people are here.
Okay.
Yes.
See to the after A on the action items. Yes, so before we go. Yeah, moving this up. Yeah, it's fine.
Before the metrics.
Yeah, anybody opposed to that? Fine. All right, any other changes you'd like to make? Jen?
Depending on the time, I know workshop is workshop and meeting, I do want to just, if we have time, talk about the village rental / village rental in discussion. If you're not out of time, yeah, it's not a workshop.
So you want to add that as a possibility in 9?
Well, yeah, discussion item.
Yeah, discussion item after.
Yeah. Please, yeah.
Anybody with anything else?
Seconds.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving along. See, I've got so many pages, I got lost again. How about a motion to approve minutes from the board meeting of the 26th, the 3rd, and the 9th?
So move.
Second.
Any changes? Discussion?
There's one of these that says I was in attendance. One of them said I was here. I think it was the workshop.
I'll double check it.
Yeah, so I'm going to abstain from the ones on those. But yeah, it says okay.
Any other changes? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain. Okay. Let's move on to financials. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. This is Ray, the new financial manager for CROA. He's with us now, he's be taking over. I'm still here, I'm still assisting as necessary. I completed the March financials. I met with the finance committee earlier this month. So for the month of March, we ended with a deficit of 8,000 compared to our budget of a surplus of 25. So we did not meet it by 33. However, year to date, we are still sitting at a surplus of 21,000 compared to budget for a surplus of 29. So we're still doing okay. For the month of March, our largest expenses were some pool repairs, some shop expenditures, some fence for Long Meadow, some portalets, and then some lighting that you can see corrected. We had some good income as far as our rental facilities as well. And then we showed some really good resales. Overall, the fund balance currently in operating is 600,000 and replacement is almost 1.2 million and capital is 4.3.
All right.
A question. February and March, there was both overage on maintenance at the fields. Both were noted as lighting. What was that? Because it's like a high overage year to date so far. And is that going to continue? Is that also going to continue for next month?
I know we were doing a lot of lighting repair as we were moving Food Truck Friday out there. So a lot of the lights as you head out, once you enter the CCFC and you pass lot D, and then the lights around there, a lot of them have been going out and out and out. We tried to prioritize fixing all of those before Food Truck Friday, and that was a large amount of the CCFC lighting repairs.
For February and for March. Is it coming? Because it's like a trend almost, like it was over 500% for over budget for February, and then like above 1,000% for over budget for March. So
Is that CCFC email you sent out?
Yes.
About the overage?
So one of the larger invoices that was booked to CCFC for this month was dog park lighting repairs too, was correcting some of the electrical wires out there as well. So that's part of it. It's not just the fields.
So these aren't ongoing.
It was part of
is
it.
it completed now?
That piece was completed, yes, and I'm not aware of any additional lighting
Yeah.
issues in CCFC.
Outside of the bollards, which we will be
Yeah.
replacing along.
And the bollards are separate.
And that's separate, which was a reserve expense.
Okay.
So the other thing I want to note on the financials is, thanks to Jim taking a deep dive on the capital resale assessment and looking at the fund balance. We noted that there was a difference between the amount that we should have collected and the amount that was actually collected. So we did an audit locally and on the corporate side, and we found that $13,792.60 were not collected. So Grand Manners will be crediting that to CROA because it was not collected. There was a back end process issue that made that not happen. So you will be seeing that on your ONS statement for the coming month.
And you're correcting that going forward. What's the
Yes,
process going forward?
So Nancy is the new VP of Shared Services, and she has taken a deep dive into this since we alerted them to it. And she's putting together a whole postmortem and fixing the processes moving forward.
Okay, can that just be social with us when that process is find out or what that looks like, or just to be, see? Or, yeah, I'll have to
And we will be tracking it locally moving forward just to make sure everything's working smoothly on our end.
Motion to approve financial report. Second one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Let's do committee and partner updates. Who would like to get this ball rolling? Come on, dive in.
I'll go. So anyone that, has been bored and has been paying attention to smart webs, ARC has been bumping. There's been a lot that has been flowing through ARC. So we are getting a bit of a backlog again, from ARC that we're working on. It's something that we'll talk about with the new committee that gets appointed tonight. And we probably in the future will need to workshop some creative way to address this. Because the community's not getting any smaller, as more people are trying to do more things to their homes, it's gonna increase in application.
Has the streamlined
That helps,
process helped?
yes, but the challenge that we're finding too is there's a lot of landscaping, which is, you can't really streamline a lot of landscaping for like a full tear out and replacement. As well as the number of significant structural modifications to homes. And those can easily eat up an entire ARC meeting. So we're trying to look at those a little bit differently, but just in case people see that those are going up, we're trying to work on that. But the committee's been very active at trying to, be consistent in what they're looking at with those pieces. We also had a condo council meeting, that I attended. It was well attended. There were some new faces that were there. Interestingly, I know there's an action item tonight to replace our fire alarm panel. That was one of the things that was pretty well discussed among, folks at the condo council. On their finding some of their same issues that they're looking for people to repair some of these things as they become aged out. So we're kind of all following the same trend. But overall, it was a positive meeting. There's all, what we talked about the change with,
landscape,
the joint meetings.
but that's the landscape one, right?
No, it's just in general.
Oh, yeah, you can mention that, yeah.
So one thing, both ARC and the Covenants Committee have been meeting jointly to go through the design guidelines. And it's been working, we've been getting through them. But it's a very long process, especially some of the ones that are a little bit more complicated, like landscaping, as Charles had mentioned, or some of the structural modification ones. One piece that we're going to try moving forward is ARC kind of huddling together on the design guidelines, looking at them all as a committee, as the new committee gets appointed, and then passing that over to Covenants kind of for their feedback so that it doesn't all have to be done in a meeting. We're able to do it. And if there's concerns that Covenants has in regards to enforcement of that or in questions they might have on, how are you actually going to measure this somehow? Then that will get brought forward and it can be brought up with the two committees together, but really trying to focus ARC on the design aspect of it and the Covenants Committee on the enforcement of said design guideline.
And to the credit of both committees coming together, those meetings was actually, it was a purely task to get them to just come together and talk and.
It's a lot of stuff to work through. And I think everyone has the interest of the community. They're trying to make it easy for them for the design guidelines to understand, but then also for an enforceability perspective, making it straightforward for the Covenants Committee to be able to enforce based off of those design guidelines as well. So we are continuing to move forward and hopefully we'll appoint the committees this evening so we can continue to move along with that.
To the point of potential guideline changes for ARC to allow them to move forward, because I can see how we're gonna have a lot more major renovations coming up. The town's almost 30 years old now. The community census designated place. Anyway, would it help to go ahead and put that on the next workshop, but would it help the board to have some suggestions from ARC on the steps that we might want to take?
We have a draft. So ARC has put together and Stephen did a good job of taking kind of the initial first stab at how we could manage this process. It's essentially taking what the celebration company did originally and making it applicable for the HOA process. Because before, Celebration Company kind of went through their process and then handed it over to the HOA. Now they're out of the picture, so it's all.
So there was sort of a management process before it came to the
Exactly.
committee.
And it's hard because right now the process, if you want to do a tear down rebuild in Celebration, there really is no specific design guideline for that. You need to fill them all out. So that means that you're filling out one for windows, structural modification, landscaping, all of that. So it can become a Herculean task for the homeowner trying to do it.
Too much detail.
So,
Okay. So you'll bring some ideas to the
yeah,
board.
absolutely.
All right, and you'll make sure the traction was on.
Tracking,
Okay.
yeah, we're trying.
Thank you. Cool. Who else wants to go?
I've been obviously as a disconnected from things, but can I just ask service areas? I know we're in the midst of the improvement plan. Where are we? So I know we've deployed it. We're recording the meetings now. We've met with all the committees, we're seating new committees. Where do we stand overall in the plan with, I know we had a timeline out there when we were going to potentially survey the committees or the service areas, but
So it's been fully rolled out. We have been receiving positive feedback on the monthly reports being sent out from CROA. The committee members like that. They like the visibility for those service areas that don't have committees. It is still being sent out to them via e-blots, so they're not missing out on any information. It's also available in their CROA portal. The new way we're doing committees now is more charter driven. So they're doing an annual meeting at their second quarter meeting. So they're following the process that they should be following. That will seat their new committees. And then after that, we will probably do another survey and another town hall with the service area residents so we can get some additional feedback after kind of a 6-month rollout.
okay, we'll chat about that in a different meeting, but.
The service area quarterly meetings took place last month and overall went quite well. The change to the seating of the committees was socialized in those and it was received quite well So it's moving in a positive direction, but our biggest issue that we're facing right now is this is landscaping and the drought, and which is just putting pressure on irrigation.
Okay, that's sense. So, all right, at the workshop, maybe we need to chat about the service areas without committees, because I do think there were some questions that came up through Roseville. Yeah, I'm learning some of kind of what happens there, because it's tough when you don't have representation from the service area. What does that look like for projects and communication? So we'll put that in for next workshop, but that's it right now. Nothing from the county, nothing from Mattamy, nothing strong on schools, but quiet on that front.
Anybody else? Committees?
Lifestyle.
We need a couple more just for.
Yeah. Well, this was a
trial run.
Trial run.
Trial run. Other.
Lifestyle. We had a beautiful food truck Friday at CCFC. Beautiful last attendance that we expect. There's another 2 events on the K8 and Celebration High School, but it was beautiful. We had a lot of people doing cornhole, dodgeball, soccer. We had official hosts, professional people, partners over there. It was nice to see. It was very good. Well organized. The next day, everything was clean, maintained, did a good job over there with the bikes and bike people. Spring excellent was amazing. Very organized. We started on Friday morning.
There were no dancing eggs though.
Or helicopters.
I'm okay about the helicopter, but I missed the dancing eggs. So,
I think you're the only one. I haven't heard a single complaint.
no,
That's good.
not a complaint, just
Kudos.
just observation.
Wherever you still 1 and 3 was perfect. The next event will be Aloha on beginning of May.
But you're still looking for volunteers for it.
Yes. We are always looking for volunteers.
All right, anything else? Technology or? Oh, Jared.
I'll talk about master plan committee. Joe, the chair, is meeting weekly with Splash Pads USA, and that project is moving along. The town hall 60% drawings are due on Monday, so we should be having those then for them to review and for everyone on the board to review. Multi-purpose courts, we should be seeing an RFP for design coming around the 1st of July. Pool heating is being discussed. They have pricing on geothermal and gas. They've now asked for electric, so they're just looking at all the options. They're There was discussion on the CDD report. There's a representative, Dave Sarah from CDD, so they discussed that report. Overall, the meeting was successful and productive on the report, and thank you to Katie for attending on my behalf for that. Also, dog park committee, all the sod replacement has happened and it's coming in nicely. It's fully seated in the small dog park and it's nice and green coming in on the large dog park. There's a bumpy grass issue that they're dealing with. Talk about the published water schedule so that everybody knows when it's being watered. There will be a grand reopening in June with giveaways and events around that with a date to come in June for the dog park. And finance, I think we addressed everything. Jim, did you have anything additional to add, finance?
If I could, just really quick, the operating fund owes the capital fund over $400,000. And that's because we have 1.5 million in accounts receivable, which are mostly dues that are owed, which Grant Manders is looking at, because that has gotten way up.
That's all.
All right. Anybody else?
Sorry, was there any comments?
No,
Okay.
our meeting's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even- all right. So,
All right, so we're done with the committees. How about CCDD? I see Mr. Pilak back in the back.
Sorry, I usually try to dress for the occasion, but just walking into the gym with kids. Had our monthly meeting this past Monday. We had to adjust a few of our meetings just based on member availability. So we will go back to Tuesdays towards the end of the summer. Right now, we're targeting some Mondays. Couple things outstanding. Number one, big one for us, obviously, our budget season is upon us. We got our workshop on the 6th of May. Next Tuesday will be our second workshop. We'll get our formal draft and then obviously our final budget goes in July. So working on numbers and stuff and things for that now, sidewalks and boardwalk assessments and ponds and all sorts of good stuff there. You mentioned service area meetings. I know I missed the last one. I'm going to try to make an effort to make those. That's quarterly. Those are out. The service areas.
Oh,
Your service area meetings.
yes.
So our service areas each hold their committees hold a meeting.
I thought you would maybe
Town hall,
like I thought you were trying to do like a consolidated one among all the service areas or not?
So we'll do another town hall with all service area residents invited to come in
Okay,
and give us feedback and ask questions.
okay. If you guys do another one, that might be useful, just I know particular in service areas, who owns what and what's where, it gets even more complex than it normally is in the rest of the community. So I'd be happy to sit in if there's anything, slings and arrows coming our way to sit in on that. We did have our bonds issued on Island Village Phase 2 for the development there, so that is all finalized. We did talk a little bit about Mattamy, as it applies to you guys as well. They've had new leadership, I guess, coming over the past 6 months. Seems a little bit more positive with them moving towards getting things completed. We had punch list items for 2 years, which they're still fixing. So we've sent some pointed love notes to them to get the bridge and some other stuff fixed, which seems like that's gaining some momentum, but hopefully it's working better for you as well. We did issue a policy probably about 8 or 9 months ago on a board policy on driving on sidewalks, specifically if there's any construction equipment, people are gonna do something on a home or having multi-story buildings painted or things like that. Just for deposits and to get that accounted for ahead of time, or I'm sorry, to get photographed ahead of time, because we're getting a lot of instances where there are damage to sidewalks. So, hey, was it damaged before? Was it damaged after? Lauren, I got tasked her from the board. I'll talk to you and we can bring the policy in and just see if there's a way. I'd like to see if there's a way to integrate that into the ARC process, so that when somebody comes in and says, hey, we're going to do a renovation or something, if it has heavy equipment, that at least it references back to the CDD policy about needing a deposit and things like that. So I can get to on about that. And we did discuss, and I apologize, like I said, last meeting, it was my delay that we didn't get the letter for you on the trees and the verge area maintenance items. I did get that over to the board after our last meeting a month ago. We did discuss it just this past meeting. So Jan has some action to give response back to Charlie. May have already done so, or if not, but the next day or two, she should get something back pretty quickly. Yes. Other than that, any questions for me?
Would you like to give an update about the work being done on the ponds, just to kind of
let the community know that. How much time have you got?
Not that much.
It's Saturday, your meeting, yeah, so I just thought of it. We have, it is no secret to anybody, the bane of our existence has been ponds over the past 2 years to try to keep up with them. We got a new pond vendor we brought on about 3 months ago. This will be our fourth one in 3 years. My line to our board, my board has been the only consistent thing among all the pond vendors has been ourselves. So we need to take a look at what we're doing wrong in order to make these guys a name right. What we're finding is a lot of it is 25 years of grass clippings and nitrogen overflows and people fertilizing and all that is catching up. So I mean, it's not just the condition of the water, but also we just had an engineering report on the slope deterioration becomes a safety hazard in case a child falls in. It can only be a certain slope over a distance type of thing, or the child be able to climb out. So we got some engineering reports and we can start getting some costing for getting that money for towns. So those will be ponds will be big numbers over the next year. We also are taking a look at our boardwalks. We have a structural engineering assessment that should be wrapped up next month. To go through every square foot of boardwalk and do structural assessments, see the stuff involved, and see if there's any major stuff that will have their license. And sidewalks, they're after that.
And the work your teams are doing on the algae, all that fun work that goes on forever.
It will continue in perpetuity. It's
Yes.
water. There's going to be green stuff in water.
They're putting Tom Tucson in a big wool suit and they're just gonna drag him across the lake.
Like my dryer balls.
Yeah, like dryer balls.
So one thing, and I'm glad you mentioned ponds, so of interest, in Lake Reinhardt, we did through, I think 2 or 3 meetings ago, Susan Bona from, the town tavern that approached us about doing a large fountain in the middle of, Lake Reinhardt for their 25th anniversary for the tavern. So we came to an agreement with her. She's going to donate the fountain. We will install it and maintain it. And so there will be a gigantic fountain in the middle of Lake Reinhardt on behalf of her. So there will be, I think, at the end of May, I gotta get the date. It's last week of May. I think she's doing a grand to-do thing, their 25th anniversary. So anybody that can participate, and it's key part of her business in the town here. So we'll be welcome to have.
Are your pond vendors, well, this carefully, is there communication between our maintenance and you all around the pond? Just because obviously what we do around maintenance ultimately is part of the larger system with what we do. I'm just curious.
I don't know.
I'm not going to get
I
what CROA is doing to.
Well, so, I mean, one of the questions I had asked was, a lot of what we get is say the 12 and 15 foot ring around ponds where our vendors are clipping and cutting grass and they're not bagging it. A lot of that is the schmutz that's getting at the bottom of the pond. We talked about everything else of, hey, the different types of chemicals that homeowners are using, they get into the stormwater system. The honest answer is you can't control that. There's really not much policing. I mean, if there's something that there's a question about, but there's just a reality of the retention ponds where anything that's out there is going to get in there. So please don't use phosphorus-based fertilizers if that helps at all.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm going to do foundation update. Kathleen, you're gonna wish you were here. Because Kathleen is not here. She's at the Osceola Education Foundation scholarship thing, giving out $16,000 scholarship. And by the way, if you want to learn all about CJC, CCDD, CROA, and all those things, and the foundation, there's a community connections at 3:30 p.m. Friday at 6:90. 6:90. Okay. 6:90. That's one with all the pillars. Apparently they're doing some skateboarding this Saturday. Oh, no, different kind of shredding. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the annual shredding event. Saturday at 10 a.m.
You were excited.
What?
Were you excited?
No, I don't. Register at the foundation website and shred some pounds of paper. LFO concert. I have no idea what an LFO is. Oh, I thought maybe it was a UFO thing. Is that a boy band?
My God, now they're swapping.
What? You're showing your age. Okay, I guess they're very famous. Oh, 97. Yeah, that's fine. This one I was busy. LFO seats available for this Saturday's concert at Community Presbyterian Church at 7 p.m. Don't want to miss that.
Don't buy your ticket.
And then what?
Buy your ticket.
Buy your ticket.
Don't you get it?
Less than, and do you have tickets?
Yeah.
Well, I would hope. And by the way, if you're a big fan of big ugly hat, fancy beautiful hats and mint juleps, then there's less than 10 tickets remain for the Hats Off to Derby Day signature gala at Artisan Park on Saturday, May 3rd. Don't I sound just like Kathleen? And by the way, she's very grateful for all the volunteers this month and every day that support the foundation program and events. That's the update from the foundation. Now, we move on to the consent agenda, which is one of my favorite parts of the agenda because we cram a whole bunch of things together and just get them done.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? So, moving to the back. Action items. Do I have a motion to approve 2 additional Mayberry security patrols? Make the motion.
Second.
Sorry,
No, I love that.
So,
I have a question.
we're on discussion now. Yeah.
we're in discussion now.
Before they start, I have a question. for
Sure.
management. It's listed in the dollar amount, a 7% burden rate. When we're trying to figure out how much is coming from capital.
So that would be, that burden rate is on if they are a Grand Manor staff member, so for the ones that were originally planned in the budget for this year of 4 full-time seasonal, the burden rate for the contract is 7%.
I thought it was 5.
The contractual burden rate is, but this is insurance and all those things, right? This is above and beyond.
I did not see 7%.
That's what we negotiated that, because it's supposed to increase, I believe.
So that's in there just as a budgetary.
Because that's not gonna apply now.
Yeah, we're not.
No, it's not.
No, I know, but
It's
it's,
saying that's what we're saving by,
Yes.
it's not.
yeah, but what I'm wondering is, okay, so I wanted to see if it was 7% and not 5%, because then that changes the amount that we take from capital.
It would.
If it was, but it's, we have, so we
It
have.
would mean you'd be taking more.
Right.
Because it was less how they operate.
Right, so we have, so then I just want to confirm that we have, so from my own understanding, we have a 7%, our burden rate for all Grand Manor staff was 7% that we're paying.
Salaries, then
So I think for this one, so hi, thank you for being here.
No problem, thank you for having us.
So I think for the purposes of this, of the motion that's on the table now, for the community's awareness, so this is in response to, originally, the Parks and Recreation Committee had made a recommendation to increase the amount of seasonal park and pool monitors that were going to be available for the summer season. We knew that we were going to have probably staffing challenges with filling those seasonal positions and retaining those people through the whole summer season, which is also when we usually start to see more issues, for lack of a better word, that pop up at community amenities. So previously, we had discussed at the workshop about leveraging our existing relationship with Mayberry to, instead of hiring those people, to bring on
Right.
the security team
So
instead
that can get-
for those pieces.
So go ahead. We're fixing a number.
And so that's kind of where we landed here. The rationale, that was just being discussed is essentially taking the existing budget that we had for those park and pool monitors and moving them in to help fund for, the security officers who are already existing, but this is to add on to, supplemental patrols for that. Just so that everyone understands what's going on. And I do agree with the comment, so we talked about it in the meeting, that I do think that it would be good to do some sort of comm or communication of some kind about who the heck Mayberry is.
I made a note as to talk to Belinda about keeping up communications about that.
Yeah, so, nice friendly picture.
Yeah, and how, while they're here, how are you identifiable immediately to a resident?
Like that.
We, just like this, we have a,
This is-
you have
this
a
is
marked
your outfit.
vehicle that's out there, you have a marked vehicle. Now, pool monitors, they'll have a pole as well. It'll say security on the front and the back, and it'll have our patch on the side.
Okay,
Okay, they will also be there. Now, we also
because
discussed,
what you have right now is kind of subtle.
it's very, that's settled because we're men, that's why it's so.
Yeah.
Okay,
I run the K9, so I'm normally, most times you see me, I'm in the normal K9 uniform when I come out.
yeah, it'd be totally different when you see it, an
So
officer.
it's blatantly obvious so that people know they're
Oh, yeah.
dealing with our
Yep,
security.
absolutely.
Because there's also, a deterrence that exists from having you hanging out there.
Correct.
Yeah. And so just so that we're clear, so with the parking pool, I know management has said it to us, but I'll ask you guys directly. So one of the, pieces that why we're trying to go the security route a little bit more in this parking pool monitor aspect is essentially checking the resident IDs. Is that something that you do elsewhere for other communities? Is the comfort level of your officers that are doing that? Is that okay?
We check IDs at a lot of our properties, so the comfort level's there. That has nothing to do with it. They're not shy about that at all.
Okay.
You know, whether we do it at the pool or anything like that for access control, it's basically an access control. Of course, there's customer service, so you don't want to scare anybody. You know, we're a meet and greet and they come in, but they'll also, I want them to know that, hey, if you've got something in your bag that's not supposed to be there, you better get it out of here real quick. Okay, I'm not wearing all this for my health. I'm wearing it for your safety, for everybody else's safety. You know, it's up to you whether you want to go that direction or the other direction. It's up to you. But that's what we want to, you know, perceive out there so that if somebody comes to that pool, they're not going, oh, you know, I can carry a gun or not. No, you're not. This is not that atmosphere. I want these folks to feel safe. I want the children to feel safe. That's what we're there for. So we'll monitor not only their IDs, but we will also profile them. Make sure, again, meet and greet. Welcome them into the pool. Have a great time. It's for everybody. But you don't come in here and start your shenanigans or you're drinking or having issues and problems. No, it's not going to happen. And you can't have glass in the pool anyway.
Yeah, no, and I think the other piece that we had is I know some of the feedback on being able to have additional availability for essentially on-call type incidents. So if there's a resident that has a concern, they go through the phone tree in our system that we somehow route back over. I think you guys have a solution for that. Maybe we talked about that. There's a phone number that's available that residents.
Correct. If we could give everyone will be able to get access to a man. It goes to our dispatch center. And our dispatch gets a call. They in turn give us a call. We respond to it if we're not already there. So we'll already be there on hand. We're already here anyway. So 9 times out of 10, we'll already know what's going on before we even get the call.
Now, I want to make it clear for everybody and the minutes and all that this is for production of CROA property. This is not a substitute for a sheriff's deputy in town. This is for protection of our property, our pools and parks.
Right, if you have a problem on your own house.
Yeah, don't call
Yeah.
maybe.
Now, we have a close relationship with the sheriff's office. Absolutely. We do breakfast and dinners and stuff with them all the time. We communicate with them on a daily basis, well, on a monthly basis almost now. So they know who we are. We know who they are. So they're so comfortable that we're in here. That whether we're armed or unarmed, they feel comfortable we're in here. That's why I'm armed. I wanted to kind of show you what it would look like. It's not, I'm not here to be intimidating. We're here to be the good guy, but we're also here to tell the bad guy, this is not the property for you.
Our biggest problem is people who shouldn't be at the pools being at the pools and vandalism.
You got it. Right. So if they see us versus somebody that's playing clothes, like, you know, he would be in the pool attire, but of course he had a duty belt on. That shows the person that might want to come in and do some harm. I'm not going over there. They're going to leave your property altogether and say, forget it, I'm out here. That's a deterrent. We haven't done anything except stand there.
And also too, I handle the narcotic dog for the company. So from time to time, you might see me out at your pool with a narcotic dog. He's a yellow lab. His name is Eric. He has on his working harness and he smells for narcotics. That will deter a lot of things too when they realize that there's actually a dog here as well.
We take him to a lot of our shows in advance. We did a show downstairs at the convention center. And upstairs at the convention center, there was a marijuana convention. Of course, he was go that way, and we got to go this way. So it's a totally different story there. But yeah,
we find that happens when we take care.
Especially when I'm in my harness.
It's very weird questions.
So this is more for me. What, I know we have hot spots with like the playground, but what's kind of the ideal placement for the additional security? What are the thoughts
So
around where it's really structured?
What we discussed with them and with Nikki when we met was the 2 additional would focus on the pools. One would be Island Village, Spring Lake, Spring Park, CCFC. The other one would be Lakeside, North Village, Spring Park, East Village. So Spring Park would get hit twice because it's one of the busier pools. And then your other detail that's already here that you already have existing will focus on their big route. But they will all be in communication with each other via walkie-talkies. So if one of them has an issue and needs somebody else to come, then they can come join.
And what kind of hours are we talking about coverage?
Overlapping, 3 overlapping shifts,
Over what period of the day?
about 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
It could vary based on need.
Yes.
But yeah, if there is late night need, on call.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is my identification too. So when you have an encounter, right, with someone who doesn't have an ID or something, what is the process that you're communicating back to them? I assume you have an inventory of everything going on. How are we giving it back to them? Obviously, we take action, have communication, what happened, what is on the way.
But when they're checking, they come into the pool, say they don't have an ID. Of course, we would question them thoroughly. And of course, the detailed report will be done, a picture, ID stamp. So we know, you folks might know who these people are more than we do because we don't live here. But we are here to protect you. So if we get all that information, again, we tell that individual why they can't come in, so on and so forth. You know, hopefully you can go get your ID, you can come back, be happy to help you out. But right now, it's not gonna happen. So send them on the way, that's where they go. Now, we would dispatch our patrol, whoever may be at the pool, dispatch a patrol and say, hey, you know, description of this individual, you know, kind of keep an eye on, because we don't know whether he's gonna take off, or when the pool, try to do what he's gonna do. So it's constant communication on that line, so that we don't miss a beat. That's how we're gonna handle it.
Now, let me ask management, and then this will go to you guys. The new electronic IDs, they don't have a picture. Will that work to, is there a way that can be, if somebody doesn't take their card to the pool, but they can get in with their electronic?
Yeah, so there's a piece of the Gallagher app where you can scan phone
Uh-huh.
to see that whether it's a valid CROA ID or not.
And they'll be on that.
So what we have
We haven't
rolled
done
out.
When we roll it out though.
When we roll it out, we will. give
So they
the
can
text
check,
message.
like I can just say, here's my digital ID, and they'll have a phone they can check.
Yes.
For the current time, it would just be opening up the app and seeing.
And maybe showing an ID regularly.
Yeah, the name matches up.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question?
No one's asked it yet, so I'll ask it. I know you guys have approached, management about asking armed versus unarmed, security. So right now, we have an unarmed agreement with Mayberry. I would like to make a recommendation that we move that, question to a workshop item for discussion. Everyone's okay, so I can agree with that.
What is, well, they're here. What's the advantage / disadvantage?
Say if I go off the report right now, you have all these people there, they're gonna look and take notes, correct? So they're gonna be thinking in their mind, oh, okay, there must be something going on. They're more alert, they're more, you know, apt to gotta be good.
If you've got a gun,
Yeah, versus carry on.
I would be more apt to be good at that.
Exactly. Versus say, if you were to go out just like that, they're going, oh, okay,
Back to management, I mean, I know that bad things can happen anywhere,
anywhere.
but we're not,
For homeowners association.
Yeah.
So like, also, do you see that?
I will, I'm glad you brought that up. Just because we're a homeowner association, all of you folks do, we deal with a lot of homeowner associations, but they also have issues. It doesn't matter whether you're a homeowner association, gated community, doesn't make any difference. We've run into a lot of gang members, we've run into a lot of issues along those properties. It doesn't matter anymore. They can care less what you are. They're gonna come in here and create those problems, and if you don't have a solution in place, that's maybe us or somebody else, just like we tell the police department tells us, when we have these meetings, we've got to work together, which we do. So we'll in turn work together to keep those problems out of any community. And Southern News would be one of them in Haines City. We have several in Orlando. It's all, it doesn't matter whether you're a gay community or not, or in Detroit. And so that,
if you have a real problem child, you will call the sheriff.
absolutely, and they back us up, we back them up. Yes, ma'am.
So previously, we had an unarmed agreement with Mayberry. Did that suffice with like the things that you were encountering previously?
I'm gonna say no, because of the reports I've gotten, and I'm sure Carol's gotten as well. They've had issues where they couldn't really take care of that problem effectively, knowing that they are armed and they are trained to handle that, but they couldn't go do it. They called PD barely showed up. But we're Johnny on the spot, so we can handle it right then and there and have PD interrupt, and that way it's done. But in the other case, we can't do that, because again, you don't have anything. Again, it's protecting yourself, it's protecting the folks here, protecting all of you, and the property and.
Off chance, something happens. One of your officers fires a gun. What's our protection?
We're already insured, so we stand in between you and the court. That falls on us. Him and I will show up, we will take care of that problem.
And understand something too, and it's kind of an educational moment too. Like me and Dixon are both retired law enforcement. When you get certified in the state of Florida through the Class D, which is the security license course, as well as the G, which is the firearm, the state backs every bit of that. So we would never put anybody down here
that doesn't have a G license. Part of my job is being the chief. I make sure I go through everybody's thing at the first of every month. I check their driver's license, make sure they're valid, their D license, their G license, make sure everything is covered all right. Anything that you see on that belt, the state of
No,
Florida.
the only reason, I mean, I know that police can have,
Right.
the.
The police are covered by the state, so are we. But we're also uncovered with our own insurance.
You've got more than adequate insurance to make sure that we aren't.
And that's our last resort. That's why you have other tools that you go to, and they're trained for that. We're not gonna put anybody out here that's gun that. I don't need John Wayne there, there's no like John Wayne. But we're not doing that at all.
I just want to,
So this is more a question for management. So the mechanics of this from a funding perspective is we would, we're pulling from capital for this year. Is that how I read this?
So the 2025 budget was written for 4 full-time and 40 hours paid out of operation. That number, the difference with the burden rate change to 5% is $704. So we can get these adjusted. So it's $704 less out of the operating, 704 more out of capital. So that funding was what was budgeted this year out of your operating was to spend $36,960. This contract is at $82,000. So the
So the
difference,
difference is coming out of capital.
as you do not have room in your operating
Right.
budget for it.
So we gotta do it for capital. Okay.
All right, thank you.
One last thing is with this still with adding 2 additional guards, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, main focus being monitoring our pools. This still means that we won't have anyone all the time. They'll be moving around. So, and this will often be a few visits to each pool per day. Just putting that, to the community as far as an expectation. It won't be sitting monitors.
It's not
all the
just
time.
we say,
I do think the one thing is all the question, but is the communications committee going to look at this too, the messaging?
Like, well, do you want the committee
They
to
can-
write something, or do you just want Belinda to?
I just think it should be in the Mondays and
Something,
Fridays.
Yeah, I was gonna feed it to Belinda to prep it. If she feels like she wants to bounce it off the committee, then she can.
One thing I would say though, in the, communication is kind of like the colors that they wear and how they can be identified, like, what is it usually?
Maybe
Just
pictures.
a black polo and khaki pants and maybe some
Black
dark
polo, khaki
polo.
pants, or, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Gray shorts. If they wear the polo shirt with the khaki shorts, they're gonna wear white shoes, white socks.
Mhm.
If they wear the polo shirt with the black shorts similar to this, because it's cool, it gets so hot out there in the daytime. They'll have on black socks and but we can actually send you a picture over, so you
Yeah.
can spread it to the community, say. There's no way to not know who it is, because on the back, it's big and reflective, and says security. Same thing here in our patches on the sleeve. Not to mention, we'll each also have a body cam as well, so it'll be centered, so as soon as they come on the pool, we're gonna press that in.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
everything's on footage for you guys. So we use the same Halo body cameras that we did with the sheriff's department, same ones that they still use today. Like Dixon said, it sits right here, so if we get out of the car, push a button, it's all recorded. Everything's uploaded to the cloud, so if there's anything that any of y'all might need, or we got an incident, or a client or guest did some one thing or something else, we can upload that footage and send it over to you guys so you can review it for yourself. And we are all CPR, AED, all that certified, so if anything happens in the pool, we can also handle that.
One more question, but this is for you all. Do we get the logs right now?
They send us a nightly report.
We don't get those though right now, correct? Those are not provided to the board. We don't want them.
They're rather late.
I send them out every minute. So if you guys want to add somebody else, I'm happy to add.
It's more a question too of like, is there something we need to take a larger action on?
I would say
You may not be able to get it.
if we're starting to see a trend or if we see an issue,
You
we'll
let us know.
escalate
That's
to the
it.
board.
So it comes in as one email the next day, but it's usually around 16 different reports at each check-in that they did. They do notify the name of the report if it's just patrol log or if there's an interaction and engagement.
As long as they're cascaded maybe through the weekly report, well, are you doing that now, like the Friday? Email to us if there's anything noteworthy on that.
We can do that, yeah, as far as
That may be just the high points.
reviewing, yeah, because otherwise it'll be.
Something I'm gonna add
document.
to our reports, I hadn't had a chance to talk to you about it. So that if we're approved in the pool, I'm gonna set you up a separate report that's just for pools. So that way it makes it easier when you're looking for a certain report, you say, okay, well, here's the pool reports, here's the incident, or information or whatever.
And just for so I still am here for a year or 2 years, unless you guys get me out.
Three.
So that'll be what I will see to look at, to renew. Okay, to look to say, okay, I actually saw that you did something at the pool during this time, it made sense to spend this additional money.
Exactly.
Somebody did.
Exactly, that's right.
Okay, so,
I have one more question. Are they familiar with kind of like how our resident guest pass work?
Yes, we've gone through it, and Nikki and Danny are going to do a training session with the deputies that will be assigned here, or their security staff that will be assigned here, so they see how we've been doing it and they see the procedure.
And then is it okay to include the number in the communication? Their telephone number?
Yeah.
I was gonna, my comment was gonna be, should there be a separate on its own messaging about security with the number with the photograph? Things get lost in the private
Yes,
question.
I would separate
It
it
should
out
be in
as a
those
separate
Separate.
communication.
I think legally, it's
And
like that.
we were
It's not
also
as it can go
discussing-
along in a lot of ways.
We would also have,
Good idea.
signage at the pool as well.
There is a meeting, communications meeting on Monday.
Yeah, she will bring it up there.
That's.
All right, we've got a motion. Got a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Very
you,
much.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, we're gonna just go totally crazy and move the letter C out of the letter D in the alphabet.
I'll make a
Only
motion to
temporarily.
approve the Montessori agreement.
Second, any discussion?
Is this a one-year agreement or?
2028. 2028. Any other terminated? Termination clauses and
With a 30,
notice,
one month notice.
are they providing their insurance to us upon execution?
They will.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. Let's go to the old B, which is the, our very first pass-fail vote on the first quarter contract matrices, which are in your package. And it looks like, to me, it looks like it was a pass across the board. In fact, it's really very impressive that everything got done and exceeded the metrics. I didn't see anything. There was a,
Okay, you want to go first?
the only thing I saw was the verbatims for February were not in there. It was January, March, and the resident feedback. So in the verbatims with,
oh, I didn't even look down at the verbatims. Then she did the reports and, all right, I read all the metrics.
those, I thought they were good for minutes.
Did they misprint the February?
I think it's for January instead of that. So it's January, March. So that would just be the one comment. And everything else. Okay.
Katie?
To, January metrics financial reporting, was not on the 20th of January. When asked, we received, I believe, February 2nd or 3rd, the, financials. The monthly financials, I have an email.
Hold on, which one? I'm trying to pull.
It was for January's reported financials. Were
Yes,
received
we
February.
acknowledge that in an email because December financials are really year-end financials, which don't come out on the 20th of the following month. They come out on the 15th of February. So we just acknowledge that in an email to the board.
Yeah, and then I think that was like February 2nd, and then we got it after that. We received them. That was one
And
for
that's
January.
acknowledged in this sheet as well. They were published on February 6th.
Yeah, that was, I was trying to find my sheet, but I didn't have it. So, because it's there.
And then my other one was for March. The board packet timeliness. I sent an email on Thursday, before the, board strategic, planning meeting, because the board packet had not been uploaded 48 hours before the meeting.
Or the
For
organization.
the organizational.
The metric is refers specifically to board meetings, not the board organizational meeting or workshops.
Board meeting is a meeting of a forum.
It's board packet. Timeliness,
In just a minute there.
I would mark it as failed.
I think overall, the spirit of this, what I saw, 1,200 pages, and if you read all 1,200 pages, it really.
I did not read all 1,200
I
pages.
didn't read. The rest of us.
Who in the world would read 1,200? You read 1,200 pages? Skip, no, okay, thank you.
No, I,
The truth will out.
the spirit of it, I think, was past. You look back a years past, and we did not have this level of reporting, this not of this level of detail, so I think this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I interject really quick, Jennifer? I don't know if John's on. We're probably gonna deal with this every year in. Is that just the way it works out, right?
We can't do the year end by the 20th. You're gonna get bad, you're gonna get bad documents.
It's not the
We
year,
didn't
end,
ask
it
for the year, we
was
just
the
needed
December.
December financials.
The month,
That is year end.
That is
December
year end for
is
us.
year
They're
end.
one and the same.
but like the monthly financial packet
Yeah.
for December,
Yeah.
that includes
Yep,
all the invoices
Yep.
and everything.
yep, that is your year end.
So a preliminary of that was published to the board, in your board packet on, the preliminary December's was published on January 17th, 2025, but you didn't get the full year end.
Wasn't finalized until February.
Until February 6th.
So that one, to Demetrius' point, needs to be sorted out, because this will be a year thing.
Yeah, we just need to tweak that.
I do think the board packets was missed the organization.
All right,
I think, Charles, I have a question on the survey, because I'm looking at the website and the surveys are January, February, March are all posted. Was it in the packet?
it's a packet, that's
Okay.
just the, yeah, no, that was not, that's just,
Okay.
just work with. the-
any other questions or comments for management? I think we should do this way. We're gonna go down the row, pass, fail. Marco?
Pass. Pass.
Wait a minute, time.
Yes?
Okay, so I'm totally misunderstanding this. It's a pass fail on everything or each
Pass, fail.
individual at
Oh,
metric?
and I guess we do have to go through each individual.
It's technically 30 pass fails.
Right,
It's 30 pass,
so
fail.
that's what I'm saying.
Do we want to go through a 30 pass, fail, or do we want to say,
Perhaps what we do, sorry, perhaps what we do is we go around each person,
is there a fail?
calls out anything that they believe did not pass or did not fail.
I think that is a brilliant idea. Just any no passes for you?
No, with the comment just around the
Okay, so no,
pass.
no. Katie,
I have for January financial reporting. I would mark that as a fail. And then for March, board packet timeliness, it's at 100% of board packets, 48 hours before the meeting. And that I would also mark as a fail. And I would say, like, this is what we agreed in our contract, and if we're not gonna hold people accountable, then I mean, we don't need to do these metrics at all.
Well, I think that's a little extreme.
That's,
That's a little extreme.
I am just
because
surprised.
it's
It is a great effort. I agree.
but it is also, it's a matter of the perception of what was intended by each member of the board. We're all gonna have a different perception. I don't see missing an organizational meeting as a fail. I just don't see it. I think that's quibbling over.
It says board packet.
I know, but I just don't see, so but my assumption is this is really a board package.
There's
To me,
there's a comment to progress, not perfection. And you look at this, and again, I'll go back to, and again, everyone has their own opinion on
Yes.
this, where we started versus where we are today. We're moving in the right direction. Is it going to be perfect? Nope. Are we holding them accountable? 100%. You were reporting on this, whereas last year and years past you weren't. This level of detail, what we do.
okay. So Katie's a fail on a couple. Jared?
I'm also fail on the board packet time.
And I am I think that the effort was passed. I think across the board, I'm not gonna quibble. I think that, of course, things can be slightly better, but I don't think a pass is perfection. I think a pass is a C or better, even a D plus. And there were no D pluses on this. There may have been some Cs. There may very well have been some Cs. Yes, missing the organizational meeting, I give you a C on that one. But it's not a fail.
It's only $1,000.
I know, I'm just saying, I don't think it's worth,
My kids, when they get graded on homework, they need to show their work, right? But they still get the A, they get the coaching, they get the correction. And I think, again, that's the spirit of this. I understand the accountability. 100% agree. But when you look at everything holistically, we're moving in the right direction.
I think it's a 5-2. That's the president thinks it's a 5-2. So I think it's a 5-2. It's a pass. Moving on. To, D, motion to approve the committee resolution.
Sorry, that meets the needs for the minutes, where we needed, for what we just voted on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll motion to approve 2025 committee resolution.
Any second?
I'll second.
Okay, now we can discuss.
I saw the printed one for.
The printed ones are correct.
The printed one in this.
Yeah.
I saw it here.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Well, this is the resolution, not the appointment.
This is the resolution of the board liaison.
Then, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing the appointments here in a minute.
Question?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Now, the 2025 committee appointments, I need a motion and then we'll go through the list.
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. I've got the list in front of me. This was based on, board vote. We decided as a board that we would go with no more than 5 per committee, to keep everything really manageable. So starting with architectural review, we have, and I, I'm thinking about just doing first names because some of your last names I can't pronounce, but I'll try. Stephen Kronfelter.
That's first and last.
Just what? I know, but I'm doing first and last. I'm trying.
You did good. That's
Okay.
right.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Scott Reich or Reichi?
Right.
Reich. Reichi? Oh, see, I got that wrong.
Way off.
Scott, Rodney, just Sanford, I can say. Leah Wanzi, James Welter, those are our architectural review committee members. Thank you. You mean,
We need to do a.
Yeah.
you want to do one, yeah, let's do one at a time.
That's how it's.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? No. Communications, just 3. Amy Brevard, Doug Peckus, and Don Town. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Covenants. Dan Aiello? Huh? You're good. Did I do that? Okay.
Keep going.
Sandy Chaleski? Shelley Reiki? No, Shelley Reiki? No, we're doing 5. We're doing 5. Huh?
Confidence?
We're doing 5 everywhere.
Whoa. No, we have 7. What do you mean we're doing 5 everywhere? Yeah.
Oh, I thought we discussed doing 5 on all the committees. Okay.
No, we did not.
No. All right, are you doing 7 on this one?
I'm
7
on this piece of paper.
Well, no, wait, yeah, I'm sorry, that had been adjusted.
When we did the Parks and Rec, there's a change.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 7. We have several 7. That's. Well, there's a person missing on Parks and Rec. So it did.
Yeah, hang on, let me go over it.
Colin Beck had about 7 votes.
Why? Because this is a problem.
No,
You're opposed? Okay. I thought that. So,
no.
all right, never mind. Coming back.
Sir, I don't know that.
Yeah.
So Parks and Rec, this person got 7 votes.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't present, that's keep the left off the.
Oh, that's a mistake, huh? Yeah. What?
Lift up, but that's okay.
You, okay, because of this.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so
He's almost been there.
so what, we voted on this, we have this printed. This seems like politicking, but no, I don't.
I thought that's just, okay, all right, never mind.
Are we on covenants?
We're on, we're on Covenant. So we're gonna do the 7. I got confused. Dan Aiello, Sandy Chaleski, Giselle Ford, Gary Hudspeth, Shelley Reiki, Stephanie Sweetie Pink, and Don Town. Is that right? Did I do that one right? Or did I miss one? Okay, we'll make sure I have the right list. That's not confused. I had 2 different lists.
Did you have, we had
So
Colin back?
the position was to.
Colin was, which one?
Parks and Rec.
And it's missing, calling by.
Okay,
Okay.
so 7.
All right, so, let's see, so that was 7 on covenants, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Dog Park, Paul Battaglini, Anthony Rich, I'm gonna mispronounce this name. Arrigo, Sue Davis, Jill Furlong, Katie Leary, Leslie Reynolds, and Rodney Sanford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Finance, Frank DeCola, Andrew Duganzik, Mike Jackson, Matthew Lettinger, and Jim Pinot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Lifestyle, Amy Brevard, Sandy Chaleski, Debbie Jackson, Dory Moyer, Eugene Petriella, Deborah Reed, Carla Young. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm opposed.
You're opposed? Okay.
Discussion?
We had discussed previously that we were going to look at making changes to this committee.
Okay.
And we're not. So
I feel the same way as you.
that's where I'll leave it. I know that the vote went that way, which I'm fine with, but we had talked about getting fresh faces.
I think one of the solutions was the, who to call it? When there was the discussion.
I think it was beyond that, though. To me, it was more of just new people that wanted to get involved in the committee, giving them an opportunity to grow.
I echo what you said. My position is I'm going to vote yes, but very, very, very short.
I think we have something in place
I'm saying
That
if
wasn't
this
there
happens
before.
again, if things happen, then
that wasn't.
Sure. So it's a 5-2 or 6-1?
6-1.
I'm yes.
6-1, okay.
Stand alone.
And then the list on master plan is Joanna, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Aben, there we go, look at that, I did that. Andrew Duganzik, Joseph Solid, well, of course it is. Mark Machuro, Robert McAdoo, Jim Pinot, and Alex Ross. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed.
Opposed? Any discussion? Anybody else? 6-1. Parks and Rec. Fernanda Bigucci. There needs to be and we're adding Colin Beck, yeah. We are, let's see, so that'll make it 7. Okay. Fernanda Bigucci, Catherine Baea, Celia McFadden, Michael Motta, Stephanie Sweeney Fink, Kevin Wanzi, and Colin. Back. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Technology, Andrew Cook, John Greenberg, Tom Hall, Daniel LaFreya, and Breck Motz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we have our committees. Congratulations. Thank you all very much for volunteering. And now we flip the page to the back. This is F, a motion to approve purchase and installation of crash ballers for Long Meadow for $14,280, and management has a comment to make on that, I assume.
I'm motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second with the caveat that we are waiving the 3-bid rule for this.
Okay, great. All those in favor? Huh?
Do we do tables on?
No, we're waiving the 3-bid rule.
Was that your addition?
That was the addition.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Because you had asked us to bring this forward for a vote and we didn't have 2 additional bids, so.
yeah, this is.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? This is G, H, I, and J. Once again, these should be their own little consent thing. Yeah, motion to approve G, H, I, and J.
What about G? He's separate.
G, well, they're all, it's
So-
council recommendations.
So we're doing that. Broken with it.
Yeah, these are not,
Unless you don't bring it up.
yeah, I mean, we can
Yeah,
break them
no,
down.
I know last time we discussed.
Or one of the waivers.
So I wanted to make sure that we we're all good with that,
I'll
not
make
just,
the motion to approve council recommendation regarding the fee waiver request.
yes.
All those in favor? Oh, second. Discussion? No, you can't discuss. All those in favor? Aye. Now H, I, and J, motion? Second?
Anyone on the list? So the position is, if we are on the list, we should have stayed.
I did once. I was on
You
the
can
list.
vote for yourself to escalate.
From a,
Yes. From an
from
optics
a
perspective.
conflict of interest / optics
What do we
perspective,
know?
if we are on the list.
I'm not on the list.
I was on the list.
You're on the list?
I was.
Not this one.
Aren't you notified?
Oh, I was notified.
Was this for the NEV charger?
No,
Pine
this
straw.
was for the
Pine straw?
This was for the piles of mulch that they took while I was in the picture cleaning them up. I can't make this up. And they said, oh, what's this? And I said, nope, write me up. Do it. Come on. So they did.
You are very strange man. Really.
Follow the rule.
All those in favor? Anyone no? Okay, discussion items, management update. I mean, we get it, but do you want to discuss it?
There are a couple of things I'd like to put on for the community. Some updates on all of our playgrounds. We reopened the North Village Tot Lot Playground recently with with the new turf and new teeter totter. The East Village Crescent Park has received multiple different improvements to that park. Mulch is on the way. And then we are doing some gate repairs coming up soon. So there will be a short closure while the gate repairs take place in the coming weeks. The Lakeside Pool, the last of our.
Give it a dramatic pause. The Lakeside Pool.
Lakeside Pool will reopen on Monday, the 28th.
Wait, is that next week?
That is next week. That's great. That is great, yes.
Oh, that's such good news.
Yep.
And the heater works and everything?
The heaters are on currently. It's at 85 degrees.
Got that shower tile though.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your committees.
Guys, you're bringing it up.
Just does that.
Yeah.
Go on, Jacob.
With that, when that pool reopens, the kiddie pool will remain closed as we're in engineering drawings right now for the splash pad that will be installed. And that has been broken for quite some time. And we're not doing the repairs as we're switching that over to a splash pad later this year.
So Jacob, the pool will open the 28th, but the bathroom will not.
Yes, so I was getting to that. The bathroom project, we did a walkthrough this week. While that contract goes till mid-May for them to finalize, they are way ahead of schedule. We are only waiting, that's really the big reason on when we can open or when we can't, is the arrival of the partitions. They were set to be a 5-day, to arrive in 5 business days, which was today. So they can arrive at any day. After that, they need about 2 to 3 days to finalize that. If they arrive, we hope to get, it has been communicated to prioritize Lakeside as there are additional restrooms in Spring Park. So that would probably be just a 1-day difference that we're looking at between the two, but we're trying to get Lakesides open as soon up to the 28th as possible. It's just going to be dependent on when those parts come in.
So there's no ECA on the back yet, just because we're waiting on the parts still.
Correct, yeah. The most optimistic, is next week, but
You
the
don't know.
pragmatic is, I think, May 20, or around May 16th, which is when the contracted date for that project is done.
So worst case is mid-May.
Yes.
Best case is next week.
Correct.
So I know the K-8 school is going to be doing their swim instruction during that time. I've had a kindergartner that's gone through that program. What we do is we take the kids down there and they change in the bathroom there, and then they change again before they go back to school. If we communicated with the school that dynamic is going to be different, we're going to have to figure out something else.
Yes, this has been communicated as that the timeline was even wanting to be adjusted, but it was adjusted due to the pool reopening. And then the restrooms has been thoroughly communicated on that.
Okay, so they're aware.
They are perfect. So with that, summer camps are revving up. They went live this past Monday on the new Basemart system. That was a big success for our Parks and Recreation team to launch that and get it working, and it all went as planned. That being said, do note for all of you that are arriving to board meetings in this room, starting in June, these will be moved to the Jones Room at Lakeside Park, while this room is being used for summer camp for June and July.
I think we should do it at the same time.
Fun.
Nothing like a summer camp in HOA management. Yeah, it's a life learning experience.
Yeah, a big thank you to our volunteers in the launch of our 2025 volunteer program. As we're still in the piloting phase, we saw a large amount of volunteers for our spring fling this past weekend, which did save the association a lot of funds and allocations of adjusting our administrative staff to help attend that event or bringing in outsourced staffing. So thank you for the community volunteers for helping make that possible. The fence and the boundary fence in the North Village buffer, which is a Central Florida Tourism District fence, was reported as damaged, and it was looking not so good after a few years. Happy to report in our parks inspections this week that has been fully remedied and repaired. So we're happy to have that done.
Sorry, the district formerly known as Reading Creek?
Yes.
Are you talking North Village? This is the
North.
the one that's facing.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a brick wall there,
Right.
in the North Village Buffer Park, which is a grove park, and it kind of goes up to where there's a gate in that wall,
Right.
which was falling apart and had some holes in it, and they've been on site and done a full repair of that gate.
Cool.
Cool. There is a structural engineer that is currently reviewing the documentation to look at the soil samples of the Spring Lake pergola in the western views. As that has been notated, that it looks like there's been some settlement on some pole. It's right now, we're monitoring it very closely. It is sturdy and sound as it seems at the moment, but that is being looked at by just us in care.
Wanted.
Yeah, so more to come with that as we receive information back from that, those reports. Those are the main highlights of the.
I have one highlight and then I'll shut up. But the trash cans, I think, need to be called out. Because the last time we were on the board, when I was on the board years ago, I remember being shocked at how much a trash can costs. And the fact that we were able to refurbish the trash cans instead of buying new, I mean, that's thousands and thousands of dollars of savings. So I think so thank you to the maintenance team for.
So what Eric was mentioning, it was just reported in the last weekly report, our park trash cans are thousands of dollars each. I think around $23,000 to $3,000 a trash can.
Yes.
It's a lot to purchase those. So we had some that were starting to show big signs of aging and rusting out. So even you could see through some spots on them. We were already starting to look at some replacement of these items, but our maintenance team wanted to take a stab at them first. They fully took them in-house, cleaned them up and put them back out. They're looking at they would like to get some equipment of a sandblaster where they can do that process much faster and get a better finished product. So that's something I was looking to socialize as well.
That's probably cheaper than a trash can. Can we do something to thank them, the maintenance for doing that? I mean, buy me something else for donuts or something. And it just kind of the organization will help a little bit. I mean, honestly, like that's the type of stuff I think is really.
I'd be happy to arrange buying them lunch.
We just did a staff appreciation event today.
Is there anything that the board could do potentially to show that? I think it's one thing.
I just did.
Yeah, he gave them recognition. I think we can donate something small. That would go along. Be like, that's really.
And I like the fact that they're coming up with these ideas on their own, because otherwise they could have just looked at something and said, well, tell the board you gotta buy all the trash cans.
Sorry, I think it's a different message coming, from you all, great, but from the board, we really appreciate this. And we know those kinds of efforts we know the budgets.
And it shows that I think it shows there's a whole new feeling in the HOA just across the board. I just feel like it from a board and management and employee standpoint, it feels different.
We want to keep.
We have some really good people.
We want these. This is the type of stuff. These are the behaviors. We have some great behavior force. Again.
Pontificating, yeah, I'll be fine.
The team really does appreciate when they hear this and that when we can pass direct messages from the board. So that's what we pass along.
Loud and clear. You call it Crescent Field, the large one, but.
So the greens at East Village.
Is that what it's called? I don't.
That part.
It's a big field that we just did the review. That's the East Village Green.
East Village Greens.
Obviously, like some of the side doesn't look that great. I know drought and water pressure, there was a loss to the community.
So that was a Bermuda field that started the install on the 14th, the first section of install, which is on the furthest side, not close to the playground. That section went in a few days before, and that about third is looking really green. I was just out there on site today, and we are seeing more green coming through the golden fronds of the grass right now.
And that's a Bermuda thing, when it's coming out of dry or.
I saw the water going nonstop.
We were concerned more earlier but what we saw today was much more promising.
And Brian's looking at Brian's on the phone with you all, like.
Yes. And so that's one reason why you're seeing more watering take place during the day as well. The main reason that we're watering during the day so much is because of the lack of water pressure at night. As we can see with our athletic fields, if you go out there, it looks like a Dalmatian. The reason is when they're watering on the normal water cycles, the pressure is so low that it's only turning the grass green in 3 to 4 foot radius. When we're watering during the day, we're getting better pressure where we can hit our zones. Even out here, there's a spot where it's just due to the lack of pressure. The heads can't reach at certain times of day. So we're keeping those and adding there and just adjusting the time.
So we should probably expect a heavier for water bill.
Yes.
And we've seen it in the service areas are getting pummeled by water, and what can you do?
Yeah.
But I see it at home.
And
Yeah, it's old, and even in total.
we're seeing a large amount of GoGov tickets coming in right now, just involving this, and it's just something we're doing, we have to work through. We're just seeing a larger amount of drought days this year and non-rain days than we have in the past.
And I think that messaging is gonna be important too, like, so you don't, we want to sell it. By celebration, I don't think it's where we are. But obviously, if we're working the water pressure and drought, that's, you can keep reporting it out, just like, over $100,000, something with that.
All right, any other questions for management on the update? Management report.
With that field specifically, we were concerned about the field that's starting next week at the back here. Yes, we were looking at potentially pushing that back. We've been informed that the water pressure in Spring Park is much better than we're seeing out there. So we're not as concerned. We're moving forward with that installation and that.
Any other questions? B, stability pledge. It's yours.
We didn't talk about this stuff. Doing something I
kept taking it down.
My concern with this, I don't care how people talk to me. I get talked to just in nasty, derogatory. I don't care.
That was off the room.
That was on.
That's just Eric. We give him a little slack.
But my problem is how we interact with men. My problem is how homeowners engage with you all, because I think that all, and again, like, it's going to happen naturally when people are upset, people are frustrated, but there has to be a certain level of stability or a certain level of professionalism. We all have to work together. And I think some of the interactions I've seen, now that you can't really enforce it, right? People are just going to act that way, but is there something we can do? Homeowner associations done anything modeled pledge-wise that, I don't know, that tries to get people to be more positive? Maybe I'm totally wrong, maybe it's totally wild, but my concern is I just don't want that to hurt your morale. Activity that you all just don't do it. It all ties together. And if you can't go anywhere, that's fine.
In a couple packets ago, there was a stability pledge that CAI, the Community Association Management Institute, put out. That's in this one too. That they have done that, and they've made that as kind of an effort to push that out to communities. But that's really that's not just resident to management, but that's resident to resident board committees. It's just everybody's acknowledging the need to have a simple discourse around the association.
So what I think would be great, we've seen the CAI in the packet a few times. I mean, I would be comfortable with us. I would be comfortable myself sitting on the board as adopting that as a board member, saying that I support this. This is what we have. This is a guiding principle that we have. I would also want the committees that we have, or anyone appointed by us, that's what they also abide by as well when they go through to this, and then publishing that out to the community, because I think it comes from the top down, where we're all saying that we're trying to act like this, everyone's trying to act like this, we acknowledge it, and then hopefully at least then we put it out there. And I think as silly as it sounds, we say that this is our guiding principle when we're engaging with anyone. And so, as hokey as it sounds, if we need to post it on a wall somewhere, at the whatever, if one opens back up or at front desk, and say this is what we kind of abide by, this is what the board supports, we're all trying to do this.
Can we rewrite it to be very celebration specific?
I was going to mention, because are we, this mentions like contractors. Is this gonna be part of like our contract with contractors then?
I would think so. I mean, to me, I think it would extend to vendors, because I wouldn't necessarily want a vendor being rude to, another resident or management or us. Nor do I think that, I mean, even if I have a problem with the vendor, I should just tell them I have a problem with you, or I'm not happy with your service. And the way we do with that is we terminate your agreement. So I don't need to be rude to them.
Very common for RFPs to have, you're going to confirm, agree with the code of conduct to celebrate work. To build whatever we call it, and also we have room.
And that's my point. I feel like that's the document that is this, because this document that we have, I agree, if we have to do it, we should rewrite it. This is purely a marketing document, and it doesn't serve any other purpose.
I wouldn't want to send that out to anybody.
No, you have to regret it, but again, it's an extension of the code of conduct.
But we already have the code of conduct.
Not for residents, not for people, not for home, it's something that.
Yeah, but we can't force anything on residents.
It's not never forcing it, it's just trying to basically put something out that we can adopt.
It's just a sharing of, and that's what I'm saying, I think a rewrite of the message, and maybe this is something that's in communications, a rewrite of a message that says, just everybody, in your interactions with, not only with each other, but with your HOA management, with this is what we believe should be.
There's no teeth
the
that
guiding
people.
there are no teeth, just a suggestion.
It's, look, the optics, the trying to get better with us. And honestly, again, my concern is just how we talk to you all. I just think that's really something, I've seen it with the service areas, I've seen it with some of the emails, some of the interactions. If someone wants to send a nasty email, fine, do it. Cool.
I would say the advantage to that, and I know thank you, picking up the brunt of this now as the secretary. To me, it would have been nice to be able to have something in my back pocket when we do get a spicy email that comes in that just says, just so that you're aware, this is how we communicate and we abide by.
I would not feel comfortable telling a resident how to communicate.
It does, and that was my thought too. It did seem a little scolding.
Yeah, I can only hold myself accountable, and I don't want to imply that I'm trying to hold like residents accountable with their communication. Like that's how I feel. And if like I want all residents to be able to email, and if they want to like be hard and harsh, for me personally, it's fine,
I do though think it should apply to our committees, that there should be a
Well,
high.
And then we have that new.
Our
version
universal
on that-
resolution.
Yeah.
That we added this year,
Yeah.
which I think is important.
I agree with you a lot, but we also need to have an other hand something to the residents who cross the limit. Like we had with Nikki in last year, one of the parts like maybe it was really nasty. We were employed. It's nice to have something like that. In fact, probably we can present this as well.
You can also do things like gamify or whatever.
Or the other thing you would do is just say,
T-shirts.
as employees and management is to say, sorry, you crossed the line.
Well, like, I mean, my own thought would be like, if someone is going to be aggressive, then you just, at that point, like, no one should, communication should
Just-
stop.
yeah.
Until,
Like if you bring
everything
your 2-year-old.
continues. But I think like, if you come at them and you're like, listen, this is not how we engage as like, they're gonna be, that kind of amplifies it, that kind of just makes them
Ignoring
like.
it does so too.
Well, if you say, if we want to have this discussion, we have to do so in a calm manner, so we can all hear each other's points. 'Cause
That's a
it's
good way to put it.
It's not beneficial for anyone when there's like, it's.
I guess the question is gonna come down to, do we wanna do it as an official document? Or just wanna look out at our fellow homeowners and say, let's play it.
I'm good with that. I think if we can extract the essence of this and figure out some way to do something, it doesn't have to be in this format, it doesn't have to be something, that we post out or whatever,
Well,
but
maybe we just remind people of the universal resolution.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done that, we've aligned on, it. We said, just as a reminder, because it's also a good time since we're appointing new committees,
And they're all gonna get that.
everyone's aware.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. What in the world is the replacement of one dead home?
Let's talk about that. So
Is this a big deal?
this is a big
It
deal.
is.
Was it murder?
No,
So it's a blank.
So this is a big deal because this would be a This is one of the main 4 pinnacle trees of the Spring Lake pool deck. This tree has died out.
I didn't touch it.
Yeah, so this tree, no, I just pulled it up.
Oh, here. Oh, sorry, no, never mind. You're good.
There you go. So this tree has died out.
Second TV still broken. Oh, they got a new one for free. Oh, that's right. See?
So
Alright,
we're
I see
here
it.
looking at this alive. This is at 1 of 4. This is what one as of today looks like that is in good condition. And there is.
This isn't the pool deck, right?
That's correct.
You just give us a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
there's another one that's dying out too. Usually this would just fall under something, a project that we work through and we work on a replacement of it. Replacing this tree is about a $30,000 expense. The cost of these med jewel palm trees, to get on site one is about $16,000, the quote we just received, and it's shorter than the one there. Because these are boxed in about 3 foot by 3 foot bed, it makes the installation even more complicated to remove and install. This is why it was brought up. I really want to bring this up to the board as a discussion item on, do we replace the tree at about a $30,000 expense, or do we not and look at doing something else? Do we have funding for this? This would be funded out of that $208,000 park improvements line. However, we do have a schedule that exhausts all of the funds through the rest of this year. And just in our inspections today, another tree, a second of the 4 is showing signs of dying. So in that area as well.
To me, these don't provide any shade.
They're not shade.
So to me, it's an aesthetics thing.
It is.
So I would be in support of removing all of them, because this is from what we've read, and I don't know if it's this tree in particular, but the other ones we've had. Brian has said we have problems with the palms, like they have bugs or blight or something.
They're all gonna die.
Yeah,
I've had them before.
they're all gonna,
So we have how many healthy ones?
Well,
Can we get 10,000 apiece for them?
starting to go.
Or sell the trees.
but I think, I just look at.
It's inevitable, they're gonna die because of the bug inside of them,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Well, we could sell them,
We would.
let them die for somebody else.
We wanted to bring this up as well as Spring Park, as we all know, last year had the irrigation issue where it was not being watered for multiple months at a time. The amenity center and the 2 connecting these to the east and western uses have a lot of failed plants. 1 out of the maturity of the plants have died out, and 2, they were affected by that. It needs some significant improvements already that we're looking at moving some of the Q4 projects back to allow funding to fix that. However, if we look at replacing the trees, it would eat up any of those funds as well.
I would say, to me, it's not, if we go for removal, which I'm in support of just removing the thing, I would remove all of it. Because otherwise it's gonna look funny. Because then it looks like one tree died and we didn't do anything, but we need to put something else there. It just can't be a box of dirt. So we would need to put a shrub, something, I don't know.
Another tree.
So Eric, are you suggesting remove 4 trees?
Uh-huh.
I would say get rid of it, because to me, this isn't a matter of if the tree is going to die, it's when.
So one's dead, another one is dying, it's significantly brown based on their inspections today, and the other 2, it's pretty much just a matter of time until they die as well.
What's the cost to remove them, just out of curiosity?
Just about $3,000.
Each.
Right.
Yes.
So,
We would recommend removing them as they die.
Oh, really?
yes, why?
We're not receiving any bulk benefits of removing, it'd be $3,000 basically per tree, whether there's no discount by doing all 4.
Oh,
So
Well, unless you have inflation.
what is I know we're tight on budget for kind of the rest of the landscape projects, but what does this year look like with we had the whole spreadsheet of like park by park, right? So like, if we take these out too, how would that even fit into the current?
It would pick some of the other projects down the road.
Medical columns, by the way, do horribly in Florida. They are notorious for dying.
Most of the landscaping at Spring Lake was not the right plant for the right.
They do
spot.
really well in the desert.
So how would that impact the current plan, and or are we comfortable
So that's,
accelerating some of that?
This is the tree that's showing signs of dying. on
I
the
see,
left,
yeah.
the one on the right.
The right-
One of the
Yeah.
right things, yeah, and it's
So-
been dead for a while.
So no matter what, that needs to be removed.
Correct.
Whether or not we replace it or not. The rest will be back.
So can management just put together a plan for all of this?
And then,
we're working.
so the second one, if we remove the second one, is there a chance to save the other two? Because we're getting rid of the.
Odds are, based on what I read,
We just went through this.
based on what Don said.
We would probably pull both of these two out, as sort of showing signs of that it is dying, leaving the other two, and then we're proposing like Hawaiian ties, which are those red kind of flowering.
Oh, yeah.
About 60 high plants in those locations. If we wanted to add trees or any other palms, we would do it on the other side of the fence. So it gives you the same aesthetics, but it's in a much easier planting location.
So remove those two, add, what did you say?
Rebranding.
Hawaiian ties.
Hawaiian ties. And that's, and keeping the other two for now, because they
So
are.
in Q4, we have about a $29,000 project on the parks improvement schedule for the amphitheater and about a $29,000 project for Founders. We're not hearing a lot of community requests for those, but we are hearing a lot in Spring Lake. And some of those are tied to what can be done because they're connected to service areas. This is why we're looking at pushing those projects back and bringing in the Spring Lake Amenity Center and connecting uses as a priority for this year and using those funds and trying to stay within our $208,000 budget.
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit on the preferred pricing, because we can write what we want into the RFP. If we wanna do one versus if you give us a quote now, we're taking them all. Why wouldn't we just do that? Why wouldn't we just go?
If we can get better price.
If we do.
We can go to our theme, the trees.
Because right now, we can like legitimately say we're removing these trees because they're dead.
Yes.
The other two are not.
One and that.
I mean, we
Well,
can
it's-
put out,
Put it out to 1 or 4.
we can put it out to bid for two or
Two or four.
two or one or four.
It
And
gives
see
us
what
the
the price is.
flexibility to.
I just don't want to be in the habit of,
Removing a living tree.
yes.
And then that's the plan again, before the second, so we have the plan for all the other departments, but how does this fit in? What do we need to do to, in?
I've done a couple of walkthroughs with residents in with some very, concerned residents in the area in the past couple of weeks that have brought these matters up to management. We've completed a walkthrough with facilities and Brian about what to do in these areas to specifically use what we can, and change out, other plants to the right plant, right spot.
Now that brings us, I think, to a bigger picture that we need to consider. We're getting ready to add another amenity center at Island. Apparently, we did not, as a board or community, do a very good job at vetting the viability of the plantings that David Weekly put in here prior to accepting it. Are we more carefully
Yes,
consulting?
so the landscaping, plans that we received for Mattamy on phase 2, they did get comments from Brian and us on right plan, right.
Because
place.
literally, these should have gone into a resort at Palm Springs. It's not
Albert looking at that? Are we still using Albert for those?
This was way before Albert. I think David
Yeah.
was the liaison when we had that.
Well, we had a meeting with their landscape architect and Brian, that we had
Yeah.
multiple meetings about that,
Uh-huh.
where there was.
Albert looking at that, then.
Are there warranties on the trees when they hand them over, like Mattamy? I'm assuming these are up, but like, will there be warranties on any of the landscaping when we take over?
Usually you don't get warranties on plants.
Right.
But that's what
Brian's doing.
Maintaining.
He's the service provider that maintains them.
Yeah, okay,
So
get a couple of bids.
plans to come.
Yep.
It's gonna be expensive. I do
So
think that
we're planning on moving forward with removing the one soon as it's unsightly. So we want to pause. Does the board want to see these or or just have us look at getting bids to remove and
Under the budget, your threshold, but.
I think that, yeah, the two,
to remove the two.
The two got it.
bring that to the board and it would be about 6,000 on the workshop to approve pulling both of these.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I also think too, depending on how long it takes to get that done, is it would be a benefit to just tell people that we're removing these trees and this is why. Because, well, but then we're gonna get someone that comes and they're gonna say, you didn't put a tree back there.
Well, I think that's still left. We're still kind of like deciding that, right? Or are we?
Yeah, but I mean, those aren't really even true. Those aren't good. There's no liability for it. That's not gonna fault our review, right? It's just more something aesthetic. So
We know we want to remove them, because they need to be removed, but I think there's still like,
We'll message removal and that we're working with our vendor on a plan on
how
replacement
to,
and how to improve the aesthetic in that area.
yeah.
Cool. The CJC cost sharing agreement.
Both, that, I have nothing new on that, and he was also mine. That can go, both of these can go to the workshop, because there will be things to discuss.
Okay, at Island Village.
Oh, I guess so Jim brought up a lot of good points. We can talk about this in the workshop, we just about what we're extending the board meeting, but my understanding was in 2023, when Mattamy had the whole thing, right, we decided to open up the Island Village Clubhouse free of charge for residents for it was quarterly, one quarterly.
In 2023, it was quarterly meetings for the Island Village residents in acknowledgement of the chaos going on out there with the Passover, but not Passover event.
Right. What we did then, as I recall, did extend it to the other villages.
In 24.
In 24, no one took advantage of it.
No.
Correct. Those were effectively board sponsored. And that's it, not go through the rec committee, they did not go through anything, it was just pretty much a board mandate, we're going to do this. Enjoy it, we didn't communicate it necessarily, great, but it was out there. How is this any different? What we're hearing on this than what we did in the past, that I'm trying to understand why this is going to the rec committee. Why is this not just a board sponsored set of meet and greets or whatever that people can use?
I will say my opinion. This is a request for a private event where only homeowners of Island Village can attend. This is not open to anyone else. And that makes it a private event. Because CROA doesn't do things where only certain people can attend.
I understand that, but that's, I guess. Okay, so it's open to, that's those rules, we just open it up to everyone. And again, this first come, that's only been 80 people.
That's not what the request is.
But that's what we.
Nikki made a suggestion in one of her communications to us, that I agree with. She said, because I think last year it went through Parks and Rec, and they approved it. Or, they had a discussion. And then, so I guess it came up again for approval this year. And Nikki, in her correspondence had said that if there was questions or issues around the actual event, since, whatever, it's waiving the fees essentially, for a private event, that she said she would make the recommendation. I don't know if she was leaning to the committee or to the board, but management would make a recommendation. If we were to have the event, to have it open to all residents. Similar, I think before, I think it was 2023, 2023 maybe, Grand Manners used to host meetups with different snacks, and they went to each village, each amenity center.
All of this is great, but I mean, we can have Jim come up. The request is for a private event for only Island Village residents.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I think they have a good thing going.
Yeah.
Where it brings in their residents from their community, and I think that is very important. Similar to what Grand Manners did last year, and I think the event should still take place, but I think it should be run through lifestyles and have Grand Manners, management team have control of the event.
I thought this was a homeowners association. This is what it seems like to me. Because to say this is a private, just because we get sponsorship, they want us to help them in our building. Why why can't every village have at least 3 meetings at a center every year?
Including Island Village, if they wanted to,
If Spring Lake
wanted to meet it up.
wants to come to Island Village and have 3 out of 365 days, what is wrong with that?
I see nothing wrong with that.
I don't think it should be.
I mean, I
You know what?
totally disagree.
Discussed, so.
I mean,
Right.
it is like, you're supposed to be supporting homeowners who are paying their dues and have an opportunity to get together 3 times a year to enjoy each other, have discussions, get to meet new neighbors. And you guys are saying, no. you
No,
can't do that.
Jim, I'm with you. I think this is much ado about very little.
I don't think anyone's saying.
If this came to me for a vote, I would vote right now to just go ahead and do the things.
We know.
That's how I would vote, because I think this is literally a tempest in a teapot. It's not that big. It is 3 days out of 365.
Communities at cornerstone cell.
Community, exactly. And if it was, if you were the taco place and you wanted to have a private little taco meet there, I would say we charge you for it. But it's the Island Village homeowners. If I wanted to get my little part of celebration together and to have a main village meetup in Heritage Hall, I wouldn't want to pay for it.
So solve it right now, every single village exclusively within that village. Boom.
Why not?
We solve this.
What's exclusive about that? It was open for each unit to do the meeting. Each unit can do that.
And there's a separate thing. Taco Don Andres came the first year and contributed all their food because they knew they were coming into Island Village. If they hadn't done this, and then last year they also did, they wouldn't be getting the crowds they're getting right now. Costco Pizza came last year. They came and thanked me personally because all of a sudden they were getting all kinds of business from people in Island Village that had gone there once, didn't like it, but they liked it when they came to the meet. And Jersey Mike's was starting up in the Celebration Point, and they did it once, and they thanked me the first time I went there again to pick up for me and my wife, and with all the new business they got.
This conversation has just changed because it was originally about this one event for this one community. And if it's going to be all, that's a different discussion.
I agree completely.
Can we have some workshop maybe, or just, and again, do we want the rec committee? I just think we need to bog down with this, or can we just board sponsored meet and greets and move on to the major?
My request would be, and you all can tell me no, my request would be to have the event and have it open to all residents of Celebration one time to see if it is overwhelming. Madame is sponsoring the event.
No, they won't sponsor it if I have to open it up.
I wanna ask why though, because if Madame is a business and they're selling homes, I don't see how bringing in more customers from Celebration from other villages that don't already live in Island Village, that's beneficial to them.
We have had 80 people, that's how many people we can have in that group. So if we have to open it up to everybody, and 20 people come from Spring Lake, and homeowners coming in from Island Village, I've got to kick them out and say, no, I'm sorry, you can't come in.
I would like to try it to see if I'm wrong, and if you all disagree, you all disagree. But that's just how I think it would behoove Madame to bring in outside people from Island Village if they're gonna be
No, we'll cancel.
sponsoring the
If it
event.
goes to inviting everybody, I'll be canceled.
And if they're paying the money, then like, we're waiving the fee and they're already, and they're paying money and we're waiving the fee, I think. And one
Okay,
more thing, one more question.
Go ahead, yeah.
If there is no, if there's no like, security deposit and we waive the fee for this event and we exclude all of Celebration and something breaks in that event, all of Celebration is held accountable for it. But they weren't able to attend the event. So that's also.
We have confidence that our homeowners are not going to destroy the amenities.
We have a security deposit for every homeowner event. I rented Island Village, I paid a security deposit in case there was an accident. It was a private event. If if I were to be excluded from a private event and something does break, we don't have a security.
How
plan. So
about we do this?
I don't know.
Because we really do need to both discuss and I think make it an action item.
Yeah.
Workshop it, discussion and action item at the workshop 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
That work? Everybody good with that? Thank you all very much. Board comments? Motion to
I have
adjourn?
comments.
What? Katie has comments.
I would like to say, Secretary, my personal, views, if any resident ever feels compelled to email the board, I welcome that, and I would assume that the rest of the board members do as well. And do not feel intimidated if someone's like, no, wait off, I have it, don't worry about it. I want to hear residents' voices, so please email the board, please share your thoughts.
And she gives great responses.
To that point, it was brought up tonight by somebody that spoke at community comments that one member of the board replied to their email. I think it would behoove everybody to know that when you email the board, all the board gets it. Katie is doing a
Katie is the
wonderful job
designated
as the
responder.
designated responder. I read the email in its entirety.
And
So we all get emails. So
We all get
we all get emails and we let our secretary, who was Eric before, respond. They both did yeoman's work. And the reality is that we get them and we read them and Katie responds and we don't always agree. We may agree, we may disagree. That's the way boards work. So that's just the way they work. You have a comment, sir?
I was just gonna say thank you for the ongoing committees.
Thank you to the ongoing committees. Anything from anybody else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? That means we're done.